What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tailgate Sports Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Tanner Johnson. With me, as always, is Ricky Scott. What's up, Ricky?
What's up, Tanner? How you doing?
Doing good. I'm excited for today. We have the awesome opportunity to interview Casteel's new head coach, Coach Joe Bushman. Coach, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, Joe Bushman. I'm 2.5 months on the job at Casteel. It's going great. Love Arizona. Weather's been good. I know the heat's coming, but I'm loving it
Yeah,
now, and I appreciate you guys having me and what you guys are doing for Arizona high school football. Man, I think it's fantastic.
thanks, Coach. And we're really excited for this opportunity. I love interviewing the first year head coaches at these schools. It's kind of an interesting year that we're doing. There's 10 or so brand new head coaches throughout Arizona that we're interviewing, and it's great to see your perspective. So obviously, you have extensive college experience, and to be able to impart some of that onto the Castile players, that's going to be exciting to see this year.
Right on.
Real quick, before we jump into the questions and the actual interview, just a little bit of housekeeping. We are obviously a two-man small business, so we really would appreciate everyone's support by sharing, commenting. That's really like the biggest thing you can do is just comment. Comment
Yep.
on our Instagram, on our TikTok, comment on our podcast feed, or even our YouTube feed. That definitely helps us get seen by more and more people. It tells every website or program that, hey, people are watching this and paying attention so that we can get these high school players and coaches the recognition that they deserve. And Ricky, you want to start off with the questions?
Yeah, Coach, just wanted to see if you could share a little bit of your coaching philosophy with us and, how it's going to apply to building this new program at Casteel.
Yeah, well, I think my all-encompassing philosophy is to try to create a great experience for kids through the game of football. I don't think you can learn life lessons in any other venue better than on the football field through the weight room and practices and games. And so I think our goal is, when the kids come in from the time they're freshmen, and hopefully we build this thing so we have strong connections with our youth program as well. But
Mm-hmm.
by the time they graduate, they've learned some really important life skills: how to be a good teammate, how to be a hard worker, how to be disciplined and accountable. Skills that are going to benefit them really for the rest of their lives, whether they're going to college or going right into the workforce. Most of them are going to be husbands and dads someday. We want to prepare them, right? We want them to look back and go, man, I really got a good foundation for the rest of my life through my interactions with our football program. And then the other thing, I think, obviously everybody wants to compete and win, but, we want to have a really good time too. We want to make it
Mm-hmm.
fun so they have a positive experience, whether you win or lose. And those are some things that we've really dived into in these first couple months, is to send the groundwork for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Uh, that's definitely something that I think you bring a lot of experience specifically from the college to be able to like say, hey, these are some of the guys that I'm seeing in college. This is what I want players who experience my coaching to be.
Yep.
So obviously you were the offensive coordinator for Lewis and Clark College in Oregon before you were the head coach. So obviously you're kind of leaning towards the offense as an offensive minded head coach. What's your general focus with the offense going into this year? Are you focusing on establishing yourselves through the line of scrimmage, or are you kind of focusing more skill position? Because a lot of Arizona schools, it's all over the place. Some are offense, defensive line, that's what they're doing. And other schools, it's through their skill position. So what are you kind of looking for at Castile this year?
That's a great question. I think that we always strive for balance. In the last 5 years in the Northwest Conference up in the Oregon, Washington area, we've been, us along with Linfield, have been the most balanced football team. So,
Hmm.
we want to be able to run it and throw it efficiently. Um, if I had to pick one point of emphasis, it's always our offensive line. I
Hmm.
really believe that you're only as good as your guys up front. So I think just digging in early, we have an outstanding offensive line coach, Renato Felina. who's coming with me from Lewis and Clark College. He'll be down in a couple weeks. He'll do a great job teaching fundamentals and really getting our run game going, and then everything's really based off of our run game. We are a inside zone, outside zone team. We run
Mm-hmm.
some gap schemes, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't run a whole lot of run concepts, but what we try to do is get really good at the ones we have and be able to be effective against whatever front we see. And then we have a lot of our first and second down calls. We call those controlled downs. We're heavy RPO, both pre-snap and post-snap RPO. So if we do get heavy boxes, we're able to take advantage of things on the perimeter. And another thing we do offensively is we really use tempo to our advantage. So we're able to go really fast when we want to. We're able to slow things down and hopefully manipulate the defense that way. So, but yeah, really, you have all these offensive plays. And when I was a younger coach, I think I sometimes erred on trying to do too much too soon. And so what we are really going to do is we're going to pick our bread and butter concepts and really get good at them early and then kind of evolve from there. So that's really our focus going into spring ball.
That's great, especially bringing your offensive line coach that behind with a college backing, bringing it to high school. These kids are really fortunate to have you guys, the pair of you coming down.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And we also have one more, our passing game coordinator, JJ Johnson, who's really been down for the last week. He's been fantastic. He's just dove right in, and it's kind of nice to be back at the high school level. The
Huh.
kids have been so receptive to what we're doing and just really hungry to learn and get better. And so it's nice to have both guys because we've been together for really 25 years. They both played for me way back when at Central Catholic High School, and then they were both on our staff at Clackamas High School when we had our run and won a state championship. So it's just nice to have that familiarity, and it's going to allow me as the head coach to have more of a input on our defense and our special teams. Because I have a lot of trust in those guys helping me with the offense.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So Casteel has kind of historically been a 6-6 team, kind of hovering around 500, and going into this year, kind of the region that they're in. It's kind of one of the more difficult regions. They're in 6A. It's the most competitive conference, and they're one of the smaller schools inside of the 6A conference, or the 6A, yeah, the 6A conference, I guess. Um, Talking to several other coaches and throughout the valley, and this season, what is your expectation for this year? Obviously, it's your first year here, in this level of competition. So, what are your personal goals for yourself as well as your team?
Yeah, well, I think Coach Newcomb has done a really nice job. He's a quality football coach, laying a really good foundation. I think it's Castile population wise is like you said, it's small, and they've
Hmm.
been for the last few years playing 6A football in one of the best leagues maybe in the nation, and so I think that they have been very competitive just based on the size of the school. My expectations, I don't really have one right now, win loss wise, just because I haven't had a practice yet.
Yeah.
So until I really get to see the kids and what we have, it's hard for me to make that judgment. But I would tell you that my goal is for us to reach our full potential this year,
Hmm.
and just from what I'm seeing, can we improve upon records from years past? Absolutely. I don't see any reason why we couldn't, and I'm very much an eternal optimist. So very rarely, if ever, do I go into game thinking that we don't have a chance to
Yeah.
win,
I love
So
that.
Yeah.
um, it wouldn't surprise me if we took off and really were highly competitive this year. But I'm
Hmm.
also not so naive to the fact that we have a new system and pretty much an entirely new coaching staff. save a few guys who are coming back, who I'm really excited about. I feel great about the 5 guys that are going to be back on our staff. But we definitely have our work cut out for us. I know there's a lot of talented teams right around us.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's some really good coaches, which I have a lot of respect for. So we're just going to dive in and give it our best. And hopefully within a few years, we can develop into one of the powerhouses in the state.
Yeah, yeah, that's great to hear. One thing that stuck out to me earlier is you want, after kind of settling in with this year and the next couple of years, is definitely leaning towards your youth program as like your feeder up into your high school. Um, I think for my personal experience, a good youth program that's established that has the high school helping it along, the high school coach and the high school staff helping it like at least pointed in a direction so that they know how they should be coaching their players is the best key to success long term. So I'm super excited that you even said that without even being prompted. Like that's
No,
incredible to hear.
yeah, absolutely. And it's different here, guys. I mean, up in Oregon, when we were at Clackamas, we had a specific Clackamas youth football that
Hmm.
fed our program. And, our kids, we consider them our kids from about third grade on. And
Hmm.
when we went our run the last 5 to 7 years, where I would consider us one of the best, if not the best, high school program in the state for that time period. We started with our youth program, and those
Hmm.
kids, we had camps year in and year out, lots of different training opportunities in the off season. Those kids were Clackamas Cavaliers through and through. They didn't want to go anywhere else because, for one, they knew we were going to be successful, but that the kids were going to be treated right and have a good time. So we
Hmm.
really didn't, lose a lot of kids. Now, I think what's happened in the past in the Casteel areas is it's been a bit of it's been some flight. There's been some kids
Yeah.
that have left and went to other schools. And one of the reasons I took the job is I felt in doing my research that there was a lot of talent in our area. And if we
Hmm.
did a good job of diving into the youth program and giving those kids opportunities to get affiliated with our school, and put on a good product, that they would want to stay. And so that's
Hmm.
really my goal right now, is just to keep our kids in house. I'm not really
Hmm.
a guy, up in Oregon, you have some schools and you have some privates that kind of go and pluck everybody else's kids, which I've never really been about. I've been about, hey, we're gonna focus on the kids in our program in our area,
Hmm.
so they're not going to go anywhere. So that's important to me. And like I said, I mean, I agree 100%. You have to build it from the ground up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Ricky, you got a question?
Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to ask you, what caught your eye about with Casteel High School and the state of Arizona? What kind of brought you down this way?
Yeah, I really enjoyed my time in college. I'm glad I did it. I kind of always knew, once my son was done playing high school football, he was a member of our state championship team, and I was very close, obviously, with him, but all of his friends, that I had coached from the time they were 8 years old. I knew once he graduated that I wanted to take a shot at the college level, and so I went and I did it, and it was a good experience. Was it something that I wanted to do long term? The more I got into it, no, because I felt, less and less connected with the kids on a day to day basis,
Hmm.
and that's why I got into it in the first place. Is I love to be around the kids in the weight room, on the field. I love schematic football, and I felt like so much of what I was doing collegiately was administrative, and
Hmm.
tons of recruiting, and
Hmm.
I'd be on my phone and my computer, uh, for countless hours, tweeting and watching film, and I'm sitting there going, "What am I doing? This
Hmm.
isn't what I'm wired for.
Yeah.
I'm wired to be around the boys all the time." And I told my wife, about a year or two ago that I wish I could find a job where I could basically teach football all day, kind of a Texas high school model, and coach.
Hmm.
And they
Hmm.
don't have those opportunities in Oregon.
Hmm.
So I'd been recruiting Arizona for the last few years and started to make connections and started to find out about some of the job opportunities that were out there. And man, it just felt like Casteel fit for what I
Right.
wanted to
Hmm.
do on the day to day. I've been blessed in my life to take over lots of programs and elevate them. And no knock on the previous staff because I think they did a great job, but I felt like there was some growth potential with Casteel in a growing area and a very supportive community that was just hungry to take off. And so I was like, you know what, this is what I've been looking for. My wife's retiring this year.
Hmm.
We've been in Oregon our whole lives. It's tough leaving because we have a lot of our family and our friends there, but sometimes you got to roll the dice in life, and you got to try
Yep.
some new things. And so here we are, and we're going in lock, stock, and barrel on it.
Oh, I like that. Castile and Arizona is lucky to have you out here.
Thanks, Ricky. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. We've explained we want to build that community involvement. And I think what you're doing with the youth and just being super ready to just having done your research to see like there is talent here. We just have to keep it here and show them why they should stay here.
Yep, 100%.
Hey, Coach, I just wanted to ask you: is there a certain way that you promote academic success within your program?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been about that, and I think what we do is freshman year, we always have we get the kids off to a good start. We have a mandatory study hall.
I love it.
And the other thing we do, and it's not just a study hall where they're just sitting and working, but they're assigned kind of uh, a mentor coach on the
Hmm.
staff who's going to do kind of a weekly check-in with the grade report, and if they're falling behind, they're going to intervene and provide them the resources they need. But the other thing I've always done is I've bought our every kid in the program a hard copy daily planner, and we basically teach them how to manage their lives. So we're kind of out of the gate, man. We have them write down every assignment, and a lot of them they struggle with that time management, right? So, and that
Yeah.
organizational skills. So we try to teach them right out of the gate how to do that. Um, and that's been a big benefit over the years. And then I always, once they get a little bit older and if they start to struggle, I have a young man right now that I'm already dealing with, and so I saw that he was kind of disconnected in a lot of areas, and I reached out to his counselor and I said, we need to have an intervention with this kid. So we got a couple of teachers, me, his counselor, and we met just last week and formulated kind of a plan where he can be successful. So pretty
Hmm.
good at this point of identifying who's struggling and what are some ways to help the kid out. Because really, as a football coach, to me, you have to invest in your players, not just for what they're doing on the field, but also what they're doing in the classroom, and just socially and their mental health as well. I mean, it's all wrapped together, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
definitely, I definitely appreciate that the culture has kind of shifted to promoting the academics just as much as the game, and that's really appreciated.
Yeah, that's our job. I mean, I take that very seriously.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ricky, do you have any more questions for Coach?
I'm good.
I I think I have one last question. So, Coach, obviously this is your first season, so you don't have like seasons past of experience with these players. Um, in your 2 months here, meeting some of the boys and going into this next year, are there any specific players that you want to shout out as like they have immediately impressed you day one?
Yeah, we've done a lot in the first couple months, and so I'm still getting to know the kids, but we have really dived into the team bonding aspect. I was talking to you guys before we jumped on about our volleyball tournament that we had tonight on the sand courts, which was awesome. Uh, we had a putt putt golf tournament over at Pecan Lake
That's
about a
awesome.
month ago. We've been to the girls basketball game. We went to the girls soccer game. We're going to the baseball, softball games in about a month. So um, I know I'm not really answering your question, but I guess I'm just giving a plug that we're doing a lot of fun things with the kids because I think the more they get to know each other and the coaches have been involved with this, it just really creates that bond. And you have to spend time together, not just in football, but doing other things as well. But the other thing we have is a leadership council. And so we voted on that really my first week. And we're going through a text right now. It's called "You Win in the Locker Room First." It's a book, and so we read a chapter a week, and then we come in and I teach from it, and I bring in guest speakers. We've had our principal in. Um, we had my cousin, who's highly successful businessman, last week. Because we have to teach leadership skills. You know, that's so important. If you get your leaders bought in and understanding what you're trying to do, it tends to spread through the program. But the reason I mention that is we've had some all-stars already in the leadership council. Bryce Greer is an amazing young man. He has an offer from, I believe, Northern Arizona. I believe by the time summer, fall rolls around, he will have multiple offers. He's an offensive lineman and a very athletic big man, and just everything you want from a leader, as far as being a servant and high work ethic, great communicator, man. I guess he'd probably be our top guy right now. Although we've had several other players who have stepped up and I think are going to get recruited heavily collegiately, not only from this coming senior class, but we've got some really special kids coming in through all the classes.
That's great. I definitely it's answering my question regardless. I think the leadership council, that's a fantastic thing that you're doing.
I
It
appreciate it.
establishes your culture within your players. That's the easiest way to get them to buy into what you guys are selling to them.
Yeah, definitely
Exactly.
a solid foundation's being laid.
So, Coach, I just want to thank you again for this opportunity to interview you. We're super excited to cover Casteel High School this season, be able to follow you and your players through the year, and be able to continue to interact with you, and through interviews and some of your players, and hopefully be able to broadcast you guys by the end of the season for a game or two. So, Coach, just again, just special thank you for everything that you do.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Great interview. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, same thing goes here, Coach. I appreciate you being a mentor and everything you do for these young men because not a lot of these guys get that at home or just
Hmm.
get that chance in general. And good luck, and we look forward to seeing you guys out there kicking butt.
Right on.
Hmm.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Tailgate Sports Podcast. Hope everyone enjoyed it and hope everyone comes to support Casteel High School.
Yes.
These guys can use it. Coach Bushman can definitely use it too. And so we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.